Elijah, obviously, we saw that the Secretary General of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, spoke earlier today. And indeed, this was, by all objective views, if you're being objective, a act of terrorism, but it was described by Western officials and Western media as something incredibly innovative and something also strategic. And precise, and as if, the Israelis, if you've, I'm sure, seen them on Twitter as I have, are acting very smug. You would think that from the way they're acting that they've actually defeated Hezbollah or something. I mean, you make a very good point that in fact their communications network still stays fully intact. Hassan Nasrallah said that their command and control infrastructure is still intact. So I guess my question for you would be, from your vantage point, did Israel gain anything from this other than terrorizing the people of Lebanon, of course? Did Israel gain any strategic advantage from this? And moreover, do you see this as leading to a higher likelihood of regional escalation?
Strategically speaking and intelligently speaking, from the military approach, it would have been a good hit had Israel started a war and exploded all the communication system, creating a chaos, but not preventing Hezbollah from continuing communicating among themselves. In 2006, a war that I have covered on the ground, Hezbollah's communication system was almost destroyed. And yet Hezbollah managed to cease fire on the same instant, fire 300 rockets in the same moment, in the same hour, and maintain a total discipline of the forces through other ways of communication system. Because Hezbollah has another communication system that is made locally, domestically, and has changed, and is good to say it now, the compromised fiber optic landline communication system when Japan delivered all the keys necessary to Israel to be able to decipher the communication. Hezbollah was aware of it and has changed all the system, and now it has another communication system that is more sealed. And we understand that because there are thousands of fighters already that Israel did not manage to move on the side or to eliminate. If they have resulted to the pager and to the icon, it's because they wanted to do something folkloric. And Benjamin Netanyahu loved this as he attacked Hodeidah in Yemen and said, look at the harbor burning for 3 days. This is what he aimed. But strategically speaking, it makes no sense.
Mm.
No, I think that's a very, very good point. And I'll just ask you this here in our last few minutes. I mean, I think it raises a whole other question, which is, there's so much in the Israeli media and the international media that Israel is planning a big operation vis-a-vis Lebanon. But given the 2006 war, the time that's passed, the experience that Hezbollah's gained in the war in Syria, I mean, it seems highly likely that this, would not just be a walk in the park. And the idea that these kind of terroristic actions are suggesting Israel's so superior to Hezbollah is likely not the case.
Well, let me say one thing. For months, Hezbollah is really finding it very hard to look for a target among the Israelis along the borders because they are hiding. I really don't understand how Israel is going to start a wider operation and offer themselves as a visible target to the Hezbollah laser-guided missile that they can hit from 8 kilometers, while the Merkava can reach only 4 kilometers. They will be like sitting ducks. This is why I don't think the Israelis are stupid enough to walk into Lebanon, but they can start a wider aerial operation. Now, having said that, we need to understand that this was a brilliant intelligence operation by the Israelis. Nevertheless, it doesn't have any strategic objective. Third, the Israelis will never achieve any objective if they walk into the Lebanon, because first, they will never see the settlers in the north returning, and they will have more body bags returning to Israel. but they will achieve one thing. Benjamin Netanyahu will remain in power for a longer time, and this is the only objective that he wants.
Well, Elijah, I know you have to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Elijah Magnier, hopefully everyone's following you. Really appreciate you giving us some of your time here on the Freedom Side.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be with you.
Well, Eugene,
Well,
what a week. What a week.
Well, Rania, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You are Lebanese. You don't just live in Lebanon.
That's true.
One thing I think is obviously, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, I think a lot of these kind of terroristic actions by Israel, I think a lot of what they're hoping is that, for people who maybe don't like Hezbollah, people have their critiques, that they can kind of drive wedges, by making it appear that it's more dangerous to have them there. But I wonder, given the huge support in Lebanon for the Palestinian resistance, what you're hearing, what you think, what your own views are, is even if people have their critiques of Hezbollah, have their issues, if this does actually drive people further away, or if it seems so unjustified and so heinous that it actually creates more national unity in the country.
No, I would say more on the latter, in the sense that, yeah, there's certainly going to be your people who, no matter what, they're going to hate on Hezbollah. Hezbollah can do nothing right, ever. And it's always Hezbollah's fault. You're going to have those hardliners regardless. That said, this certainly did unite the country. You had a lot of politicians who are in a different parliamentary bloc than the one Hezbollah is in. Come out and say they are with the resistance, they're against what Israel did. And they see this as an attack on Lebanon's sovereignty, as it is. And they see it as an attack on Lebanon because this was an attack that was across the country. It was nationwide. It was completely indiscriminate and random. Whoever was around when a pager or a walkie-talkie blew up. So absolutely, this has definitely united more than it's caused a wedge by far. And I mean, it's so obvious. Like, you don't even need to really think too much about that, because it's pretty obvious what's going to happen when you attack a country. Any country that's attacked for any reason is going to unite against to attack them. And in this case, everyone's angry at Israel, even if they might not like Hezbollah so much, angry at Israel because Israel did this. So yeah, I mean, right now I think people are also quite frightened because it was just so random. It's the kind of, at least like in a war when there's fighting, you kind of stay away from certain areas that are going to be hotter or heavier. But in this situation, it was a matter of really random, indiscriminate violence, just like a terrorist attack, because it was a terrorist attack.
Yeah, picking an orange out in the market, and just because the guy next to you had the pager, next thing you know, you're dead or maimed or whatever, and thousands and thousands and thousands.
It's just
of people.
Completely ridiculous and outrageous. And 2 days in a row, I mean, to have it done the next day, it's just, and then to have someone like Congressman Brad Sherman, who's a Democrat from California, come out and call it precise and innovative and strategic, and then on top of that, basically say all Lebanese people are human shields for Hezbollah. Yeah. It's sick.